All right, so this is the other video that you would need to complete the project if you haven't started already. We're going to talk about volume of a rectangular prism, and we're going to talk about perimeter. So volume, if we forget, volume is length times height times width. So length times height times width, right? So basically what's happening is that they're giving you the volume right there. Okay, they're giving you this guy. Call this guy the length, and we'll call this one the width. All right, so we can set up an equation and solve. So my volume is going to be 12x plus 16. We don't know my height, so it's going to be what's in blue times what's in green. Okay, times the height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor everything first. See if some stuff cancels out. Hopefully it does. Up top here, I have, let's see, I have difference of squares. So I'll get 3x plus 4, 3x minus 4, right? Two perfect squares with subtraction in between them. Down below, it's a trinomial with an a of 1. So what are my factors of negative 35? That add up to 2. That would be, since it's a positive 2, the 5 would be negative. So I get x plus 7. X minus 5, right? That's just from factoring. And then for the green one here, I would, okay, it's not difference of squares, so I'm going to just take out an 8x. We off with x minus 5. Okay, and then down below, I just have the 3x minus 4. So now some things are going to cancel out. So the x minus 5s will cancel out. The 3x minus 4s will cancel out. Yeah, and that'll be it. So I still have my volume being 12x plus 16. And then I'm going to have 3x plus 4 times 8x. Okay, that's still up top. And then on the bottom is going to be the x plus 7. Now we can't forget about the h. All right, I know I didn't put it in there in that step, but we're still multiplying by h. So now what I have to do, I have to try and get the h by itself to figure out the height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute here. So I still have the 12x plus 16 on the one side. Then I'll have 24x squared plus 32x. Okay, over x plus 7 times h. All right, now what I'm going to do is divide. Okay, to get rid of this, I'm going to divide by that on both sides, right? So like if you had, I don't know. Right? If you had this, you would divide by 2 on both sides. So we're doing the same thing, except our 2 is just way more complicated. So what I have is I have the 12x plus 16 divided by what's in yellow here. Okay, and there's a reason why I'm writing it out this way. The reason is because if I'm dividing, okay, by a fraction, it's just like keep the first, change this to multiplication, and now I'm going to flip this guy so that it's x plus 7 up top, and then the 24x squared plus 32x on the bottom. Sorry, will equal h. So now let's see, is there anything I can reduce? Probably. All right, let's look. Yeah, let's take out a GCF from the red guy over here. So that would be 4. 3x plus 4. And then, the green one would be x plus 7. And on the bottom, let's see if I can take out 8x. 3x plus 4. Hey, what do you know? 3x plus 4, 3x plus 4. The 8 and the 4. So I get that my h is x plus 7 over 2. And just don't forget about that x right there. Okay, that's my h. There's a bunch of different ways you could have done that problem just because I was kind of walking through it as I went. If you would have factored out this GCF, in the beginning, factored out the 3x plus 4, you could have seen it a little earlier, but it doesn't matter. Really, what you're trying to do is factor, right? That's the first step we did here and here. We factored, right? The blue and the green. Cancel some stuff out. Then we, multiply them together and then divide it on both sides. Again, it's really using algebra rules. So yes, they look way more complicated, but we're really just using algebra rules to try to get the h by itself. So rather than doing the whole keep, change, flip thing, you could have just multiplied by x plus 7 on both sides first and then divided. You would have gotten the same thing, all right? It's really all depends on how you want to do it. All right, now perimeter. Perimeter, if you remember, we're just adding up the sides, right? Going around the perimeter, going around the outside. The thing we know about rectangles is that the opposite sides are the same, right? So I know over here is, what did I just do here? Interesting. Over here is x squared plus 8x over x plus 5. And up here would be 15 over x plus 5, right? So what you talked about in Algebra 1, if you don't remember, is that the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So that's what I'm going to do, right, to find perimeter. So I'm going to just write my work over here. It's kind of annoying that that went with it. Let's bring it back. There we go. All right, so I get the perimeter, which is what we want, is 2 times the length. Really doesn't matter which one you call the length and which one you call the width for this one. Plus 2 times the width. Okay, so let's go for that now. So I get the perimeter is 2x squared plus 16x over x plus 5. Now, if you're wondering why I didn't multiply the bottom by 2, is because if you had some fraction like 2/3 and you were multiplying it by 2, you wouldn't multiply the top and the bottom, or else it would just reduce to the same fraction. So what you do when you're multiplying, right, and hopefully you remember this, is that you just do 2 over 1, right, and then you multiply the top and keep the bottom the same, just like we did here, okay? There we go. The second one would be, 2 times 15 would just be 30 over x plus 5. Now, if I add the fractions, why am I allowed to add the fractions? I'm allowed to add the fractions because the denominators are the same. So I would get 2x squared plus 16x plus 30 all over x plus 5. Now, if you're sitting there and saying to yourself, uh-oh, I have an a that's not 1, that is true, and you could do factoring, with the a times c, and then figure out the factors that add to b, and go from there. However, just to make our life easier, let's look for a GCF with our coefficients. We have a 2, we have 16, and we have 30. They're all even numbers. If I factor out a 2, right, now that's way better because now my a is a 1. So what are the factors of 15? That add up to 8. Right over here, factors of 15 that add up to 8 would be 5 and 3. Okay, and what do you know? I can cross out something with my denominator. And I get my answer. My perimeter would be 2x plus 3, which would be fine for me on a test or quiz. If you're looking for an answer choice on like Delta Math or Khan Academy or something like that, that would be your answer here. Okay?